Welcome back to Read This Next with Ruth and Nicole. This week we are doing I actually don't think we've done this topic before, but we are doing retellings. So books that are famous for one reason or another that are being retold, revamped, revised for various cool purposes or just because. And I know, is it you, Ruth, that really likes retellings of, or maybe it's Laura?
Think you're thinking of Laura. I mean,
Yeah.
I do like a good retelling if it's done right. It's really fun sometimes having, a classic novel brought into the contemporary world and
Mhm.
seeing how those characters can still have the same kinds of adventures and
Yeah.
interactions, but in a different setting. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. It's I honestly a lot of the books today are YA, but like we always say, they're for everybody. But yeah, we have a couple adult fiction and a lot of YA fiction, and they're all good. All the covers are beautiful, and a lot of LGBTQ rep today, which is kind of cool because it seems to be a recurring theme with the retellings is adding a little bit of umbrella spice. So it's nice. Spice not in the traditional sense, more like flavor. Yeah. Okay. So our first one, I will get right into it. I made this list when Laura was still here and we just never got around to it because she's a big fan of Anne of Green Gables. Are you a fan?
Is one of the first things Laura and I did together socially go to an Anne of Green Gables talk together.
Stop,
Yes, it
really?
is. Yeah. Yeah, it was at LU. We were in this kind of dingy little classroom that I probably never would have been able to find by myself, but because
Yeah.
she'd been to LU, she got us where we were going. And yeah, it was really
Aw.
great. And I just have to say, I love the cover for this one. I'm so excited.
Right? It's so pretty. So this is Anne of Greenville by Mariko Tamaki. Mariko Tamaki also wrote Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, which is a graphic novel. And I think they also wrote, I think it's called Milk. I could be wrong, but they tend to do graphic novels, and this is also a graphic novel.
Well, Milk was a huge graphic novel a few years
Mm-hmm.
ago. I think you might be
Massive.
right that they're the author.
Yeah, there's two, they're actually sisters. So I believe two of them worked
Mm.
on that one together. But yeah, anyways, in this, so actually I am going to read the bolded part. This is the story of how I became Anne of Greenville. It's also the story of how I found my true. What?
Maybe
And
True Self?
I direct copy. This is how I found my true, and how I needed to maybe come to Greenville of all places to make that happen. Oh man. In this modern reimagining of Anne of Green Gables, Anne is an ABBA-loving singer, actor, writer of disco operas, queer Japanese American who longs to be understood for her artistic genius. Recently relocated to the middle of nowhere Greenville and starting at a new school, Anne has a tendency to A, fall in love quickly, deeply, and effervescently, and B, fly off the handle in the face of jerks. Both personality quirks quickly come into play when the soccer team boos the premiere of her disco performance, which, in a roundabout way, introduces her to her new BFF, Barry, and she soon meets the girl of her dreams, Jilly. Falling quickly into that age-old trap of ignoring the best friend for the new crush, Anne soon becomes embroiled in a series of dramatic and unfortunate events, and quickly finds herself wrapped up in a love triangle she never expected. Is she MTB? What does that mean? With
I
Jilly?
don't know. I
Meant
feel
to
like I need to
be.
look.
Meant
Oh.
to be. Or is Barry her true soulmate? Only time or 304 pages will tell.
Mm.
I
What?
love
No
it.
sequel?
No sequel. Done. I love that though. That seems like really silly and fun to be like, or 304 pages.
Yes.
So it's cool to see that reimagined, and also big fan of ABBA myself, so I can get behind a disco ABBA performance. I love it. You know what though? I've never read Anne of Green Gables, so maybe this
What?
will get me into it. I know.
To be on, okay, and this is where Laura will probably smack me. I have read all of them, and Anne of Green Gables, the first, is not my favorite book in the series.
Oh, which one's your fave?
It's hard to say. I love Anne of the Island. Like, I
Okay.
actually love as Anne grows up a bit and like becomes a teacher and kind of explores her world a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
Interesting.
Like, I think it's one of those you dig in, but I am a big Ella Montgomery fan. So,
Mm,
like, I liked a lot of her other books. I really liked the Emily series, and
okay. I don't
yeah.
think I've read anything by her.
All right, well, we're just gonna have to put a stack next to your bed because there's a lot of reading to do, honey.
I gotta catch up.
You do.
All right, your turn.
Okay, so our next book is called Hester by Lori Lico Albanese. And unlike some of the others, it does not immediately apparent from the title or the cover that this is a retelling. It's a really lush embroidered roses on the cover.
Mhm.
So it's not immediately kind of telling me where I'm going. No spoilers. Um, Isabel Gamble is a young seamstress carrying generations of secrets when she set sail from Scotland in the early 1800s with her husband Edward. An apothecary who has fallen under the spell of opium, his pile of debts have forced them to flee Edinburgh for a fresh start in the New World. But only days after they've arrived in Salem, Edward abruptly joins a departing ship as a medic, leaving Isabel penniless and alone in a strange country, forced to make her way by any means possible. What a jerk.
I know, that's
Like,
terrible.
I know, I understand he's an addict and that's really rough. Maybe going as a medic is going to keep him onto an opium supply, but all right, my initial reaction is I'm not loving Edward.
Sucks for Hester.
It really does. And I mean,
Oh no,
unfortunately,
Isabel, sorry.
yeah, the book is called Hester, but Isabel,
Oops.
you know what? Understandable though, right? We
Hmm.
expect that when there's a female name as the title, that would also be the lead character, but no. So Isabel then meets a young Nathaniel Hawthorne, and the two are instantly drawn to each other. He is a man haunted by his ancestors who sent innocent women to the gallows, while she is an unusually gifted needleworker, troubled by her own strange talents. Okay.
Mm.
As the weeks pass and Edward's safe return grows increasingly unlikely, Nathaniel and Isabel grow closer and closer. Together, they are a muse and a dark storyteller, the enchanter and the enchanted, but which is which? And now his name has got me sort of starting to think about what this might be, what book might be referenced here.
Are you not sure yet?
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But certainly like his name was a
A
real
big
tell
hint.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this sensuous and hypnotizing tale, a young immigrant woman grapples with our country's complicated past, and that's America, not Canada.
Hmm.
We have our own complicated past, but that's not the one here, and learns that America's ideas of freedom and liberty often fall short of their promise. Interwoven with Isabel and Nathaniel's story is a vivid interrogation of who gets to be a, quotes, real American in the first half of the 19th century. A depiction of the early days of the Underground Railroad in New England and atmospheric interstitials
I
that
don't know
capture,
that
it's
word.
not a word I use very often, that capture the long history of, quotes, unusual women being accused of witchcraft. Meticulously researched yet evocatively imagined, Hester is a timeless tale of art, ambition, and desire that examines the roots of female creative power and the men who try to shut it down. So if we haven't guessed on what this is a retelling yet, here's the final clue. A vivid reimagining of the woman who inspired Hester Prynne, the tragic heroine of Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter, and a journey into the enduring legacy of New England's witchcraft trials.
Cool. And the cover, I'll show it again so that you see it. You can see that there's a scarlet letter on it.
Yeah.
Super cool. This is a adult book, like adult fiction.
I
And
think the sensuous probably partly gave it away.
a little bit, yeah. And it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
So it sounds cool. And it's also interesting that it's both a reimagining and retelling, but it's also kind of a historical, it's like a biopic.
And brings the original author in as a character.
Yeah, the drama. I love it. Okay, our next one is called Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. Um, if you can't tell by the cover, it's Medusa. Love it. Okay. They will fear you and flee you and call you a monster. The only mortal in a family of gods, Medusa is the youngest of the Gorgon sisters. Unlike her siblings, Medusa grows older, experiences change, and feels weakness. Her mortal lifespan gives her an urgency that her family will never know. When the sea god Poseidon assaults Medusa in Athens, oh, I've never seen it without the A, temple, the goddess is enraged, furious by the violation of her sacred space, Athene takes revenge on the young woman. Punished for Poseidon's.
Unfair.
I know, that's like so much unfair stuff
Mm-hmm.
happens with the women of Greek and Roman mythology. It's nasty. Um, Punished for Poseidon's actions, Medusa is forever transformed. Writhing snakes replace her hair, and her gaze will turn any living creature to stone. Cursed with the power to destroy all she loves with one look, Medusa condemns herself to a life of solitude, until Perseus embarks on a fateful quest to fetch the head of a Gorgon. In Stone Blind, classicist and comedian Natalie Haynes turns our understanding of this legendary myth on its head, bringing empathy and nuance to one of the earliest stories in which a woman injured by a powerful man is blamed, punished, and monstered for the assault. Delving into the origins of this mythic tale, Haynes revitalizes and reconstructs Medusa's story with her passion and fierce wit. So very cool, and kind of, I know it's not the same, but if it is in the same vein of like the Circe and Achilles, Song of Achilles books that are really popular by Madeline Miller, which are also retellings that we didn't mention here because they're wildly popular. But yeah,
They don't need us.
they don't need our promo. They're famous enough.
I think what's interesting too, though, with this one is that while the others, well, I mean, the last one is more sort of close to the time of the original, but a lot of retellings bring into the contemporary period. This one really sticks with, nope, this is happening during the time of legend.
Yeah. Yeah. And just tells it from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, next up we have Other Ever Afters, New Queer Fairy Tales by Melanie Gilman. It has a very sweet cover. Like it really gives, like pulls into that sort of fairy tale feeling.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more gentle than some of the covers we see.
Yeah, very soft, which is nice.
Yeah. So once upon a time, Happily Ever After turned out quite differently than expected. In this new feminist queer fairy tale collection, you'll find the princesses, mermaids, knights, barmaids, children, and wise old women who have been forced to sit on the sidelines in classic stories, taking center stage. So they're finally getting the limelight. A gorgeous all-new collection in graphic novel format from a Stonewall Honor-winning author and artist. That was a bit of a tongue twister. What if the giant who abducted you was actually thoughtful and kind? This feels like Stockholm syndrome there. What if you didn't want to marry your handsome, popular, but cold inside suitor? Okay, I'm down with that. What if your one true love has all the responsibilities that come with running a kingdom? Award-winning author Melanie Gilman's phenomenal colored pencil art creates another ever after for the characters who are most worthy of it.
Yeah, I borrowed this book and then I didn't get a chance to read it before it was due. But
somebody else needed it.
Yeah, they needed it. Melanie Gilman, I don't know if you've ever read oh, what was the title? Stage Dreams, which is about a young two LGBTQ people in the wild, wild west who meet each other, fall in love, and run away together. Very cute. Her art style is very, like you said, gentle and pencil crayon-esque, which is really cool. So if you liked I said Phoebe Gilman, like that's the same person. Melanie Gilman. If you liked Stage Dreams, I would check this one out. It looks very cute.
I just love the flowers. Like,
yeah,
there's still like, you know, the skull breathing death, it looks like, on us. So it's kind of an interesting combination of very sweet and gentle with some true fairy tale viciousness.
Classic. This next one is one that we have hopefully on order. This is Self-Made Boys, a Great Gatsby remix. This is a YA. This is by Anna Marie McClemmer. Love the cover, gorgeous.
The wisteria in the background is beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. New York City. New York City, 1922. Nicholas Caraveo, a 17-year-old transgender boy from Minnesota, has no interest in the city's glamour. Going to New York is all about establishing himself as a young professional, which could set up his future and his life as a man and benefit his family. Nick rents a small house in West Egg from his 18-year-old cousin Daisy Fabrega, who lives in a fashionable East End. Who, oh my goodness, I'm having a rough time.
The
Daisy
Hamptons, man.
Fabrega, who lives in fashionable East Egg near her wealthy fiance Tom. And Nick is shocked to find that his cousin now goes by Daisy Faye and has erased all signs of her Latina heritage and now passes seamlessly as white. Nick's neighbor in West Egg, a mysterious young man named Jay Gatsby, whose castle-like mansion is a stage for parties so extravagant that they both dazzle and terrify Nick. At one of those parties, Nick learns that the spectacle is all for the benefit of impressing a girl from Jay's past, Daisy. And he learns something else. Jay is also transgender. As Nick is pulled deeper into the glittery culture of decadence, he spends more time with Jay, aiming to help his new friend reconnect with his lost love. But Nick's feelings grow more complicated when he finds himself falling hard for Jay's openness, idealism, and unfounded faith in the American dream. Cool. I don't know how many Great Gatsby retellings you've read before. I haven't read nary a one.
Nor have I. I've only read the original.
Yeah, I feel like this one doesn't get a lot of
Attention?
yeah, I mean, we definitely give it attention at school and read it and things like that, but I don't feel like many people have tried to retell it. So I
feel
think
like
this is really cool.
I think it's been more popular for film.
Yeah, especially with all the glitz and the glam.
Yeah. Everybody loves a little glitz and glam.
I do.
This one could have been in our 1920s one too.
It could have. Dang.
So many options.
Yeah, go check out that episode.
Okay, so next up we have The Secret Garden of Yanagi Inn by Amber Logan. Nice little tagline here. Cracked doesn't always mean broken. Grieving her mother's death, Marie Lennox travels to Kyoto, Japan to take photographs of Yanagi Inn for a client. As she explores the inn and its grounds, her camera captures striking images, uncovering layers of mystery shrouding the old resort, including an overgrown secret garden on a forbidden island. I am in. That sounds fascinating.
I know.
Like, I want to go on holiday there now. Forget like the book. Okay. But then eerie weeping no one else in the inn hears. No one else in the inn seems to hear, starts keeping her awake at night. I'll skip that part of the vacation. Like,
yeah, hard pass.
Despite the warnings of the staff, Marie searches the deep recesses of the old building to discover the source of the ghostly sound, only to realize that her own family's history is tied to the inn, its mysterious forlorn garden, and the secrets it holds. And this is another like gorgeous cover, you know, with the cranes flying and like the really, I think
the outline of a face.
Yeah.
Facing up.
But within it, you know, the cranes and the trees that seem so like carefully, I was going to say groomed. Probably pruned is more accurate, but it's really evocative.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, hearing that like this description of the weeping that's keeping her awake at night as it looks like this person is sleeping and it's very much like a nighttime scene is quite intriguing.
So this is obviously Secret Garden, which for those of you who haven't read it, check it out. It's a classic. It's very sweet and sad. And I read it when I was really young. And then I reread it when I was older and I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't remember it very well.
I remember it, and I remember what actually struck me most is when I was a child, my grandmother gave me a book that had, what was it? A Little Princess, The Secret Garden, and Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Oh, okay.
Little Lord Fauntleroy was my favorite of the three. Because it was just such an interesting story. But what I remember most when I think of The Secret Garden is that there was, I guess, a movie when I was little. Was it The Secret Garden or was it? No, it might
Little
have been...
Princess had a really good movie.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of Little Princess and the like cholera deaths of like that was really intense for small children to watch.
I don't know if that was Little Princess.
It was one of the two of them because I mean it might be Secret Garden because both are stories of children who are sent to, you know, live with a family member or in one case in a boarding school because of things that are going on with their families.
Yeah.
I actually think it was Secret Garden that had the cholera deaths and it was
because it's like
traumatizing.
Yeah, in Little Princess has that scene where she's crawling between the two buildings and then
Yes.
she's yelling, "Papa, Papa!" And oh my God, every time I'm just like, "Ooh." But I haven't read the book, so I was like, that'll be too much.
You should read the book, and you should read Little
No,
Lord Fauntleroy too.
I will read that one. The Little
Okay,
Princess, though, will destroy me.
fair enough. Read Little Lord Fauntleroy. You've got to get up on your Frances Hodgson Burnett. Like,
Dang, dang. But yeah, the again, another one that I haven't seen too many remakes of. So
no.
yeah,
And
I
I mean,
tried to
sometimes it's
find.
just because, honestly, and to a certain degree, other than if you think about like the whole cholera death thing, which is not so common now, but does still happen. The whole premise of The Secret Garden is it doesn't really need to be retold because I think this will be really interesting. Don't get me wrong. And
Hmm.
we've got an older character here. Like there are a lot of things that have changed up to make it kind of work as a retelling.
Yeah,
But in many ways, the original is quite timeless
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
because, she's just staying with family, finds this garden, hears the sound in the night. Whereas for others, where there's sort of a more layered and complicated story,
Yeah.
there's more to dig into and change.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, for this is a little bit unusual in that sometimes we have retellings where they take adults and make them teenagers,
Hmm.
like the 12th grade.
12th grade night. Yeah.
But it's not so common to take a child character and make them an adult.
Yeah.
So I think this
Yeah.
is really intriguing.
Yeah. I would love to. I think I say this every time and then I never do it, but I think I'd like to read this one just so I can
Mhm.
see how it plays out with them being
Well, and I
adults.
want to know who this eerie weeping is too, right?
Yeah, like how much does it intersect and remind how much does it pull from the original text,
Right.
which is kind of cool because the other ones that we talked about on this list seem to pull pretty heavily from it, but this one kind of leaves it a bit the description anyways leaves it a bit up to the reader to figure out how much it's gonna
Right.
connect.
Yeah, because really so far we've got the garden and the crying in the night.
And that's all we got.
But given it's an adult, it would be a bit weird to find like their cousin.
Yeah. Be like, what?
A
Yeah.
cousin I never knew I had
Huh? Yeah,
in
it sounds
this,
really good though.
resort that I didn't know or hotel that I didn't know was my family's or like
Yeah.
my family was
Just
attached to in
accidentally
some
ended up
way.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. Well, if anybody has other retellings that we should check out or talk about, let us know in the comments. I think I'll wrap us up. Thoughts?
I think
Okay.
it's a good time to wrap up. Yeah.
All right, I will do that then. Oh, I can see my screen is glitching out. It's perfect timing. Okay, so thanks again, everybody, for watching. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You can catch our show notes, www.tbplofftheshelf.com. I'm sorry that they are late and I've been missing posting them because I forgot that was something I had to do now.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's my bad. So if they're missing, blame me. And yeah, I will hopefully have them up soon. So, anyways, see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.